We are live here at the Telltale booth here at E3 2011 with the voice of Marty McFly in the new Back to the Future series, AJ LoCascio.
Hey,
how you doing today? Hey, I did finally get it right.
I'm good. Great. This is awesome.
Well, so what do you have you been a fan of Telltale Games in the past?
I knew about them, and everyone always told me to, like, my friends would force me to get into Monkey Island and Sam and Max, and I never quite got it until now. But I knew about them. I was never a fan per se. Now I'm a fan. But when I was a kid, I just didn't want to jump in.
Right. So how did this whole process go about with you becoming the voice of Marty McFly?
Well, they had cast someone, and I killed him, and so I used his skin. No, I heard about the game. I called up the president of the company because he was like the first one on the website. I was like, screw it, I'll leave him a message, and I left him a message sounding as Marty-like as possible, which was pretty funny. It was like, hey, my name's AJ. I do a great Marty McFly impression, and just sort of left him this long message like, it's my destiny, and didn't hear anything back. Of course, so I left another message. I was like, screw it, they don't know who I am. I've got no bridges to burn. So I left a second message for like the vice president or something, and didn't hear anything back.
Did you do the same?
I did the same thing, really. And then a couple days later, I finally got an email like, hey, got your message, send it in MP3. Sent it in, didn't hear anything back, moved out to LA, because I was in New York at the time, and like a week afterwards, they're like, hey, can you send in another MP3? I did, and then I got the part. So it was pretty, It was all... I mean, that's within, like, I started in July, I got the part, like, in mid-October, so it was quite a process.
So how does the whole voice acting in a game process work?
I mean, it's pretty weird, because it's like, they give me, like, per episode, I do over, like, 1,000 lines, which is a lot, and they'll give me the script. I'll wait for these guys to pass. Okay. They give me the script, and they just sort of, we just kind of go through it, line by line by line, and a lot of the times we don't know the context, so that's kind of interesting. Obviously we figure it out before we record anything, but it's pretty funny because I'll just see a list of lines, it'll be like, wow, or look at that chicken, and I don't know what the hell's going on. And there's been times where we'll do an entire scene, they'll be like, oh, by the way, you've got a shotgun held to your head and you're hanging off the back of a train. I'm like, well, that changes everything. So it's an interesting process, but I love it.
So when you're doing that, did you work with any other voice actors, or are you by yourself?
For when I'm actually recording, aside from, I think I did like my last couple, well, when I'm actually recording, I'm by myself. I mean, there'll be, like, I recorded a couple lines, or some of my scenes with Chris Lloyd there, but he wasn't actually feeding me anything. There's usually someone doing an impression of him. Julian, our sound guy, will usually do an impression of all the characters, so before I play the game, he's every character to me. So females and males alike. But I never really, I mean, it's just not conducive to getting it out quickly, or well, to have people, interacting.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, impersonations, is that something you've done in the past, or how did you develop the Marty McFly voice?
For Marty specifically, I sounded like him when I get freaked out as a kid. I used to teach gymnastics of all things, and when I get mad at a kid, or if I was panicking, I'm gonna be like, wait, no, don't do that, and they'd be, people will go, hey, you sound like Stuart Little, or Homeward Bound, you sound like the dog. And so it kind of developed from there. And I always loved Marty, so I sort of kind of adapted the voice to my own. And, it sort of became this impression that my friends would tell me to do drunk at bars. And, and then it kind of actually became a thing. And my friends knew me as being the guy who does a great Marty McFly impression. And, but I've been doing impressions my whole life as sort of a fun thing. Like, I impersonated Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp professionally for like 4 or 5 years, traveling around as him, which is bizarre now. But, just honing in on voices and sort of, mimicking them is something I've always done as a kid. So it's cool to actually do it now.
So have you heard Michael J. Fox say anything about your impersonation?
No, I haven't heard anything from him directly. I haven't, I've asked to be like, did he say anything? And I haven't really gotten a response yet. But I don't know. I don't know how he feels about that. Hopefully he approves. I hope.
Well, I kind of think he's probably approved since he's part of the last episode. So
yeah, that's what I like to think.
You kind of sold him through 4 episodes, so...
Right. Yeah, it's just, I like to think of it, it's my job to make people believe that he's actually voicing it. It's nothing more than that, nothing grander than that. I just want people to think that it's Michael J. Fox, at age 20 or however old he was when he actually did it. And so that's, yeah, so hopefully he approves of that idea.
So, have you been a fan of adventure games through your life growing up, or is this kind of a new genre for you?
It's sort of new. I mean, I played through like the Carmen Sandiego games as a kid, and like Fate of Atlantis, which was actually written by one of the writers at Telltale, Stemley, which is funny now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he actually wrote a lot of Back to the Future, too. But no, not really. I mean, I played what I would normally play as a kid, if that makes any sense. So like Carmen Sandiego was like, you had to play that at my age.
I had to as well,
yeah, exactly.
so I understand.
And
that big almanac you had with the, you had to look up clues.
Yes. So that's my exposure to that. But now that I've done this, I mean, obviously I've been much more exposed to adventure games, and you know, I've started several episodes of Sam and Max and Monkey Island. I haven't quite committed to getting through it because I've been busy, but I'm getting there.
So, are you? Have you been a fan of how the story has progressed in Back to the Future? Do you like the direction they've gone?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to make a story out of Back to the Future beyond what they had already because, you know, it was so self-contained. I mean, obviously there's an infinite amount of possibilities to do because it's all about time travel and all that, but you know, making it interesting is tough, and I think they did a really good job at that, because it's, you know, what do you do with Marty and Doc after that third adventure? It seems to be kind of done. I think they did a great job of, you know, bringing us someplace new and fun, because we get to sort of explore Marty and Doc in a very bizarre way. You know, Doc is sort of this, he's a much darker character towards the end of the series, and it's cool to see that. And I really like where it's gone, and hopefully it goes someplace else again. You know, hopefully there'll be a second season. Yeah,
we're kind of hoping the same thing too.
Yeah.
So if you could get in a time machine DeLorean, would you go back in time and kind of knock Michael J. Fox in the head so he's passed out and try to steal the role?
No, I'd do two things. I'd either go back in time and sort of see what my dad was like, which is very similar to Back to the Future, but I really do mean it. Or I'd go back to the 70s and I'd buy up all the Star Wars toys I could, and then move to, and then fly over to, you know, back to now and sell them all on eBay.
Leave a note for yourself to buy Apple stock in the late 90s?
Yes, buy some Apple stock. Though for some reason my mind immediately goes to Star Wars and Indiana Jones toys.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
So here at E3 we've had a bunch of different console announcements. What do you think of like the new Wii U?
I mean, Nintendo hasn't disappointed me yet, so I'm excited to see. I remember when Wii came out, I was like, oh, what the hell's that? You know, I was like, what's with all the weird strings and there's two controllers? But, I mean, the Wii is pretty much the only system I play aside from the PlayStation now. And it's, you know, I'm excited to see what it's like. I mean, we're obviously a while from the release, but it looked cool. I mean, it reminded me of something from, like, Minority Report. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to that post-apocalyptic Blade Runner world, and Nintendo's just moving that, you know, forward. So I'm excited to see what that becomes. But it looks awesome.
What about in terms of handhelds, the 3DS or the PlayStation Vita?
I'll be honest, I have no interest in handhelds because I get motion sick very quickly. So anytime as a kid I'd play my, you know, Game Boy in the car, I'd, you know, want to throw up. So even now I still don't play those.
Are you looking towards doing more voice acting for games in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping so. I just got an agent recently, so I'm just sort of starting to get on my feet. You know, Back to the Future sort of... that and working at game trailers has sort of ravaged my time, but now I'm sort of trying to, once E3's over, get back into the groove and see what's next. I mean, hopefully more Telltale projects, because I honestly would work for them for free, because I love working with those guys. But we'll see. I mean, only the future will tell what's next.
You've got to work on some more impersonations.
Yeah, hopefully I'd love to do some original voices, or some voices that haven't been done yet. I mean, I love doing characters, but it'd be fun to develop something that was sort of my own. Although I would love to voice like Jack Sparrow or Spider-Man, you know, so we'll see.
So do you get a chance to play the Back to the Future games before they come out?
No, I'm waiting like everyone else.
Okay.
I mean, when I go to the studio, I'll see, they'll show me parts of it, but I don't play through it. You know, it's...
You'll kind of write that into your contract for the season 2.
Yeah, to be totally honest, they're building the game like a minute before they release it still. Like, they're like, no, must fix that mustache hair. And so nobody's played it before it's released. It's literally released as soon as it's done, which is crazy. But yeah, I wish I could play it before so I could be like, haha, but I don't.
Well, in closing, I just would like to kind of ask you, what are the most memorable lines that you've done? And of course, the voice of Marty McFly.
Jeez. don't know why this sticks out to me, but there's one line where I say, I don't think I want to hit Doc's dog with a newspaper, something like that, and that sticks out to me. And there was a bunch of really weird ones about, like, it looks like just a big hole to me, and like weird things like that where I'm like, what is that talk? What am I talking about? But obviously, like the whole opening scene in the first movie, and we doing the first game, that was my like favorite thing to do. I loved doing that. And the funny thing was, is they kept trying to play the movie back for me, and I'm such a big fan of the movie. I was like, no, don't. Just let me do it, and then we can compare after. And they kept trying to move me, like, they're like, no, it's like this. I'm like, trust me, just let me do it. And then after I did it, we played it back, and they're like, oh, you were right, which is great. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of other memorable lines. There was a lot of really funny ones. It's locked. It's probably the thing I've said the most. But, yeah, no, that's all I got.
Oh, great. Well, AJ, we appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
Good luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
That's up behind you.